Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Heffe Shop Shop. This week's a bit different. I'm just going to be talking about my goals and achievements of 2020 and 2021. So if that's not what you're into, there'll be some time lapses on the screen, so that'll keep you entertained, and I hope you enjoy. So 2020 has been a bit of a mess of a year, but we've got a lot done at the chop shop. So I'm going to run through those things first. So at the start of the year, I did the white K70. So that was a full reshell, engine, gearbox. I didn't change the diff, I don't think, but the whole interior came out as well. Swapped everything over and made the best out of a few cars. So we got that done pretty early in the year. And then we did the VN. So we pulled all the lowered stuff out, put all the stock stuff back in from the VS. Went to Regency, had that for a bit. So sold that one as well. And then we did the Sior turbo build. So that has been put on hold. Em has been building a house, so she's just built a brand new house. But she needed the money for that, obviously. So the Sior's been on hold for a little bit. Hopefully this year she will be able to put some money towards it again and we'll be able to finish it off. Because that is her car. She's paying for everything. I'm just doing the work. So then we bought the Toyo Ace with the LS. So we put the LS2 in it. And we've been doing the lift kit and put the wheels on it and all that sort of stuff. So this year we should get that sorted out as well. So we still need to do the steering, the brakes, all the wiring, finish off the tray. There's a bunch to do. So that's probably going to be the focus of the start of the year once the bagged Sior is done. So we've got a few truck videos still, but once they're done, the bagged Sior, then Emily's car if she can afford it, and the Toyo Ace. So that will be finished. Alright, so then we moved on to the bag Sior. We did that this year. I got it very close to finished. So it's still sitting in the shed, needs front bags put in and a front bumper. But I need to get all my tools from Mum's house to make that a whole lot easier on my life, which is where the truck comes in. So that's handy. And then K55. So we got that bogged and painted in that one day with Graham. And we also bought it this year. Bought it last year. And I've had it for about a year. And then I did two different videos on it. So 2 days work. So we've got that finished as well. We also did the new driveway. So we extended the driveway, made it a little bit wider. And we sorted out the front yard a little bit. It's still not growing because the ground's horrible here. So I need to do the front yard, but that's later. I'll talk about that later. We also got the shed up and we got the concrete in. And we moved all the cars in. So I still need to do wiring and all that sort of stuff, but I'll talk about that later as well. So then coming on to the big ones. So we got the Model A, we got the 30k challenge, although it ended up being 21k for the Model A, so got 21k out of that. And then I also bought the truck, so the MPR, so that's for the Dodge project, as I said in the original video. So that's pretty much everything I need to buy. There's one car I'm looking at that I'm trying to convince the guy to sell. If that happens, it'll be on the channel. If it doesn't happen, I probably won't mention it again. So that's pretty much it for what we've done this year. So it doesn't sound like heaps, but it's a lot of work and I still work full time. So it's been a fair bit. All right, so moving on to the cars I currently have. So we need to work out what I'm doing with them all, essentially. So I've got the Hilux. That will be getting sold very shortly, maybe sold by the time this video goes out. The MPR is replacing it pretty much. So if I need to tow something or I need to put something on the back, take the truck rather than the Hilux. It's just better. It's actually probably more comfortable than the Hilux was when I originally got it. And it's quite good. The fuel consumption is a lot more, obviously, but it's really good for what I need it for, and it can tow heaps. So once I get a tow bar on that thing, the Hilux can go. So then onto the truck. So I got the truck a couple weeks ago and fixed the clutch, and I need to get it clean and a service and all that sort of stuff. So that'll probably be in next week's video, I would imagine. Pretty happy with it. Just need to get a tow bar for it at some point. I need to give it a haircut, so cut the box down, make it into a tray. So I think I'm swapping the bull bar for a bumper and some cash my way. So there's not anything crazy happening to that. I just need to clean it and make it a bit nicer, really. Make it mine and fix it up a bit. So then the Model A, I registered it the other day, so I can actually drive it on the street. But then we went to back it out of the shed and it's got no lights whatsoever. No brake lights, no tail lights, no indicators, no headlights, no nothing. So I need to sort that out. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. Other than that, I'm just going to probably drive it this year until all the other cars are done or very close to, or I get stuck on something and I need to do something else. So Model A will just be driven. I may fix it here and there just to make it drivable, but I'm not going to actually start the big project until probably next year, so 2022. But we'll see, because in the last video I said I wasn't going to do a bunch of stuff and then I did all those things, so we'll see how we go. So the Getz is the new daily. I'm just going to drive it to work pretty much. It's got heaps of Ks and it's got aircon, so there's not much to say about it. Not going to do anything to it, I don't think. May end up putting wheels on it, but only if I get them really cheap or for nothing, so don't expect to see any Getz content. It brings me to the Stout. So that's still in the shed. That's the one with the 3SG Beams engine in it and the 6-speed. So that thing needs rust repairs and some wiring, and I'll put it back together. And that's probably about it. I think I've done most of the fuel system, most of the brakes, all that sort of stuff. So that is hopefully going to happen later this year, but I need to do a few other things first. Brings me to the Dodge. So the Dodge project is later. So the Dodge cab and the big white box that I bought, which is in this video over my face somewhere, that is going on the NPR at some point. So I'm going to take the cab and the tray off of the NPR, put the Dodge cab on, put the big white box on, make a big truck. So that'll probably be 2022 as well. So the next car would be the Crown. So that has a 1.5 JZ. It's all freshly rebuilt. It's not forged or anything, but it is a fresh rebuild. It's got a big head, big valve springs, big cams, all that sort of stuff. High flow turbos. I've got a computer for it. I need to do the wiring. I need to do the airbags, and then now it needs a respray because it spent so long outside. So I'm hoping to get that one done this year because I really miss driving that thing. So the green Stout. So you would have seen it in the back of a few videos. It was in a video for 5 minutes a few weeks ago. That is just for parts, so it's getting stripped. It's currently cut in half, but I haven't got the engine and stuff out, so I need to finish pulling that apart, and that can go to scrap. So you won't be seeing any more of that. Then we got the Toyoways. So that's the one with the LS2 and the 32-inch wheels and all the cool bits and pieces. So we need to finish that. We've got steering, brakes, wiring, a bunch of stuff to do. So that one is straight up after the airbag Seor is finished. Brings me to the Seors. So we've got M Seor, the blue one, with the K3 1.3 litre and the turbo off of my Crown. So the original turbo off my Crown. And then we've got the airbags green Seor, which I need to finish off the front airbags, front bumper, and that's about it really. It's running, driving. I could drive it as it is. However, I've taken the front struts out to put the airbags in, but I need to move all my stuff from Mum's house. So I need my drill press and I need all my scrap metal and everything to finish that off. So that brings us to the VS wagon. So you probably forgot I've even owned this. I forget I own it half the time. So that's at Dale's block. It's a paddock basher, so don't expect to see anything of it. I may bring it back because we don't actually know if it runs anymore. Last time I drove it, we broke the radiator and overheated it a whole bunch. So it might be seized, it might not even run. So we'll probably go pick that up at some point, bring it back here, either fix it and take it back to Dale's house, or pull it apart and sell it for parts, or just scrap it, or whatever. So you might see that in a later video, but I wouldn't hold your breath. So then it brings me to the good stuff, the Corollas. So the K55 I sold, obviously. So I've still got 4 K20s left, which is a bit of a mission. So 2 are reasonably complete. 1 got rear-ended, 1 is reasonably complete but a little bit rusty. And then I've got 2 shells, which I was going to use for rust cuts. And then I've got a whole pile of parts. So I need to either make those into 1 or 2 good cars, or I'm looking at trying to get a K25. I've found one, but I need to convince the guy he wants to get rid of it. He kind of wants to get rid of it, but he's taking his sweet time to actually get rid of it. So if I can get that, I will reshell one of the K20s into that, and then try and fix one of the other ones. And then once I've got those 2 together, I will sell the K20 and probably keep the 25. But that's if, buts, and maybes. So if not, I will get the 4 cars, make 1 really good one, and then whatever's left over, I'll try and make a second one that's not quite as good, and get rid of those. Then we've got my pride and joy, my K16 Corolla. So it's a 1970 K10 Corolla wagon, so it's a K16. That thing is at Dad's house and is sitting there doing nothing. So hopefully I'll get that to my house this year. That'd be really nice. And I'd like to get it running again and maybe drive it. So you'll probably see that this year as well. And then we've got the K10, which is the last one on the list. So that's at Dale's house. His dad's been supposed to paint it for me. So it's been there for like 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years. But there's no rush for that. So when he paints it, he paints it. And then once that happens, the wagon will get reshelled into that. And then I will start the restoration on the wagon. So that's all if these things happen in the right orders. So we'll see how we go with those. So moving on to the 30k challenge. I've technically finished that, but I've got a whole bunch of parts left over and a bunch of cars. So what I'm going to do is, so the K20s are part of the 30k challenge. I'm going to fix and keep one of those and then sell the rest of them. And then the rest of the parts, I'll sell all of those this year. Then try and organise and clean out the yard in the next few weeks. Probably be a couple of months because there's a lot there. But then I'll get that money together and start putting it together towards Model A stuff. So that's pretty much where the 30k challenge is at. But I've got the Model A now, so I don't need to worry about it as much as I was. So moving on to the house and the yard. I'd like to do the front yard this year. So I was originally going to have grass all over it, but it just doesn't grow. So I'm going to have to do something a bit different. So I'm thinking about doing some like river pebbles at the front, or river rocks, or whatever you call them. And then a small little fence, and then a little bit of grass, and then probably some like native bushes or something around the sides or whatever. So we'll get to that later. I'm not super fussed about my front yard, if you hadn't noticed, but I need to make the place look a bit more presentable because it currently looks like a dump, kind of how it is at the moment. As for the backyard, I'd like to get the rest of the concrete done for the shed. So when I concreted the shed a couple weeks ago, I just did inside the closed section of the shed. So the end bay, the veranda bay, that is still open and is still not concreted. And then there's 3 meters behind the whole length of the shed and 4 meters down the side of the shed, which also need to be concreted. And then there's also 1 meter of walkway in front and down the side of the shed. So that's a lot of concrete, and it sounds like it's going to be 2 different days of pouring and laying. So hopefully that happens before February. Once that's done, I'd like to run a fence between the big shed and the little grey shed, and then put the garden shed behind the big shed and clean everything up and put everything that I own that's car related behind that fence so that the backyard doesn't look like a wrecking yard, because it's pretty embarrassing really. I do enjoy cars and I do enjoy having bits and shit everywhere, but I'd like to be able to put it behind the gates and not have to look at it every minute of the day. So it looks like my phone died last night on the time lapse, but this is 2 coats done. Still got 1 more to do, so I'll probably do a thick one because as you can see there's a bit of patchiness. This end square is probably the best coated one, and there's still a few lines in it. So another coat it is. Try and do a thick one for the last coat and then let it all dry and call it a day. So as for the shed itself, I've still got to do wiring. I'm hoping once I've cut the truck down, I'll be able to put a ladder on the back or scaffolding on the back and be able to put the lights up and start doing all the wiring. So once that's done, I can do the mezzanine, and once that's done, I can get a hoist. So the plan this year is to really focus on making the shed what I want it to be. So mezzanine, hoist, lighting obviously, workbench, work machines. So I'm looking at getting a lathe, a power bandsaw and a mill. I'm always making little things, so it'd be super handy, and I'd be able to do jobs for other people as well. So I'd really like to get the shed dialed this year and then lay into the cars once it's all done, so I've got a hoist and make my life a whole lot easier. So that's probably it for the house and the shed. There is a lot more wiring and stuff to do in the house as well, and I still need to do a few other bits and pieces, but I've been too busy / lazy, so hopefully get those done as well, but we'll see how we go. So this year I've got a few jobs for other people as well. Luke, the cameraman, shout out to him because he signed up to my Patreon also. So he has a Volkswagen Vento, which is a Mark III Borer essentially, or Jetta, I believe. So we're doing a VR6 swap in that from a Mark III Golf. So we're going to do the subframes, the engine, the struts, hubs, the brakes, the whole lot. So it's pretty much like a full drivetrain swap. So we'll be doing that early this year, I would imagine. And then I'm also hoping / planning to do a VN LS1 conversion with Dale. So hopefully we can get a lot of that on camera and try and get a couple episodes out of each of them. And I'd like to try and ramp up the videos a bit as well and try and do maybe one every couple of days. But pending work, that could be very difficult. So I'll try and get a long way in front and then start posting them 2 at a time. And then once I run out of content, I may have to go back to once a week. So we'll see how we go. So just interrupting this video to tell you about my Patreon. So I've started up a Patreon account. It is Heffe Shop, of course. It's in the description. And if you'd like to join, that'd be great. If not, that's also fine. So it'll get you access to a week's earlier content, and you can talk to me, and you can get a shout out and all that sort of stuff. So check it out. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. If you do want to do it, that'd be great. You're helping the channel. So if not, that's fine. The next thing is stickers. So Emily and I bought a sticker machine. You can't even see this at all. We bought a sticker machine, and we've been making our Heffe Shop stickers. So here's one of the smaller stickers on my computer. We can do a bit bigger if you'd like, but these ones are about 20 centimeters wide. So if you want one of those, inbox me on Instagram and I'll sort you out from there. They're $5 each. So if you buy a sticker, that'd be great. It'll go straight back into the channel and I'll be investing it into the projects and the share. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. If you don't want to, that's also fine. So we're also hoping to do merch later on in the year. So Emily and I bought a sticker machine which also does vinyl cutting and ink cutting. So we can make t-shirts with like a vinyl iron-on type style, or we can do a printed ink in the actual t-shirt. So hopefully we can get some designs made up and get some of that merch happening later in the year. I also need to finish the website. So that's probably it for this week. Hopefully I've answered all your questions. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. If there's anything you want to know or anything you want to see, let me know and I'll try and do my best in another video. See you next week.